What's up guys, it's River, and today we're looking at the G7X Mark III. This is Canon's cutting edge point and shoot camera, and it's really aimed towards the vlogging market and people who really want to up their vlogging game to the next level. But the question is, does it deliver? Is it worth the money, and is it right for you? So let's do a deep dive, find out exactly what this camera does, exactly who it's for, and is it right for you? Let's get into it. Also, just to let you guys know, there's a link in the description down below for the absolute best pricing on this camera. So if you guys are interested in this camera, be sure to check that out. So first things first, let's talk about the specs on this guy. And the two things that are noteworthy and impressive about this camera is the sensor and the lens. So this has a 20 megapixel sensor, which isn't that particularly impressive in megapixel count, but what's interesting about the sensor is that it's a stacked sensor. What that essentially means, it's two sensors. One part of the sensor collects the information and one part of the sensor processes it. So the entire mechanism that captures the imaging information is way better. So yes, you will notice a difference, but only when you're editing and really like doing heavy post-processing with this. Just off the camera, it is a sharper image, but if you're just a hobbyist, you just want to get this camera and take it on vacation, I really doubt you'll see a difference. Like I have the Mark II and now I have this, and I do notice a bit of a difference just in JPEG without any editing, but not enough of a difference that if you could get a Mark II, that you would want to spring for the Mark III. And the lens is really impressive. The lens is really impressive because it goes all the way from 24 to 100. Now that's a really impressive focal range. If you had that kind of a lens on a full DSLR camera, it would be a massive lens. Yet this is a really tiny lens. 24-100, that's really impressive in such a small compact camera. The only other company that makes a lens like that is Sony, and they've got a 24-200, and that's like a $1,200, $1,300 camera. So for this price to get that kind of a lens, I'm really impressed with it. Plus, it has a very fast f-stop. 1.8 or 2.8, depending on what focal length you're shooting on, but that makes this camera very good for low light. And speaking of low light, this also has Canon's Digic 8 processor. You'll notice a couple of things with the new Digic 8 processor. One, way better noise performance, way better in low light, and just overall better looking images, just sharper images, and just like an overall like improved image quality, but also a very fast camera and faster camera operations. We'll talk more about that later. But that new image processor lets you shoot faster, do slow-mo, do 4K. It's a really good image processor. So overall, specs-wise, this camera's pretty dang good, especially considering the price. Also, quick side note, this camera does have HDR mode. It does HDR at full HD at 30 frames per second. Basically what HDR is high dynamic range. And what that does is it increases the dynamic range of your camera a little bit more, so you can see more into the shadows, a little bit more into the highlights. If you're not a techie, essentially it just gives you more information in your image. And sometimes it can make or break your image. If you're shooting like a gorgeous tropical thing and the clouds are a little bit too bright, it'll help you bring those clouds back. And sometimes just being able to see the clouds makes or breaks an image. So it is like a very niche feature, and if you think you're going to be doing that kind of stuff, that HDR feature might be worth it for you. But I think for most people that live in like just regular cities, like it may not be worth the extra money. Next, let's talk about stabilization. I'm actually so excited to talk about the stabilization in this camera. First of all, this camera is super light. It's only about 420 grams. That's really light. My number for that might be a little bit off, but it's a very light camera. Like this is my phone right here, and this is the camera. It is a very tiny and like super light camera. It just feels a little bit heavier than my phone. But what's interesting is because this camera is so light, plus it has really good stabilization, I've honestly been using this camera and I'm like, wow, this feels like a gimbal or a Steadicam. The footage is so smooth. So if you're planning to do a lot of traveling stuff where you're just gonna be hand bombing this camera around, a lot of vlogging stuff, you're gonna get very stable footage and you won't get that whole like shaky footage, because I sometimes watch vlogs and I'm like, damn, like this is a good vlog, this is a shaky as hell video. So yeah, that will fix it. I'm really impressed by the stabilization in it. I have the Mark II and that had 8 out of 10 stabilization. This, 10 out of 10 stabilization. I was really surprised. So photo-wise, this is a pretty interesting camera. It does a few things that are pretty interesting, especially considering it's a compact camera. So it does 20 frames per second burst mode. It doesn't have autofocus, but that is really fast. Like 20 frames per second, that is a machine gun. And it has 30 frames per second raw burst mode, so it just shoots raw photos at 30 frames per second. Now regular video is 23 or 24 frames per second, so it's shooting faster than that. You will literally not miss a single thing. So if you're trying to get like maybe a backflip or a jump or some kind of like really fast action sports stuff with this camera, you will definitely get that. So depending on if you're shooting sports, maybe your kids games or like dance, ballet, whatever have you, something that's moving really, really fast, this is a very, very good camera for that. But mind you, those burst modes for 20 frames per second or 30 frames per second do not have autofocus, so you can't really track someone that's going far or away from the camera. But if you do have autofocus on, it's only 8 frames per second. Now that's not terrible, it's decent, but it's not like amazing like 16 frames per second or 11 frames per second like the Sony cameras do. So 8 frames per second with autofocus is decent, because the autofocus in this is a little lackluster, but we'll talk more about that later. But overall, as a photo camera, pretty decent. It's really small. This would be great for street photography, travel photography. If you're like a vlogger or a content creator and you just want something that's small in your pocket, pretty dang decent photo camera. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. So when it comes to video, this camera is kind of a toss-up. It does have a beautiful image, great color science. I cannot say enough about Canon's color science, but it doesn't have 24 frames per second at launch, which kind of doesn't let you do cinematic filmmaking. But at the same time, I don't really think this is a cinematic filmmaking type of camera. This just like doesn't really have the right lens, doesn't have any color profile, so you're kind of limited in the kind of look you can create. What I think this camera would be really good for is vlogging and travel documentaries. I think this would be fantastic. It's small, lightweight, great stabilization, great focal length, fast aperture. Yeah, I think if you're gonna use this camera, use this for vlogging or travel documentaries only. But as for like frame rates, it does 30, 60, and 120 frames per second, all in HD, and it does have 4K video, which I think if you wanna get 4K, like it does 4K at 30 frames per second, soon at 24 frames per second. It does pack quite a wallop and a lot of features and like a lot of specs in terms of video. Great look. I just wouldn't really use this for cinematic work. I think this is really more of a vlogging and travel documentary camera. And a quick side note for my hobbyist friends out there, this camera has great color science. Photos and videos just look good right out of the camera, and you really don't need to do editing. Canon's really famous for their color science. The blues have just like the right shade of blue. The reds and oranges are really warm. Everybody's looks really attractive, and Canon goes out of their way to really make sure their cameras make skin look really good. So you will always have people look really attractive with soft skin, flattering features. This camera, just out of the box, if you just want to grab this to capture vacations, family events, or just have this as like your personal camera, like you want to use this instead of your phone, you will not be let down. Fantastic camera. And while we're on the topic of video, this camera does have a really interesting feature that I haven't seen in a lot of cameras lately. It does live streaming to YouTube, so you can directly have this camera go straight to YouTube for a live stream. If you're someone that's a YouTube creator or wants to do live streaming, this might just be the perfect camera for you. Last but not least, let's talk about the autofocus situation in this camera, and it's kind of a weird one. So face tracking in this camera is fantastic, and that's kind of just where the technology is at right now. Pretty much every camera has good face tracking. Even the iPhone has tremendous face tracking. Like if it's just face tracking, AKA if it's just vlogging, look at your face or other people's faces, it's pretty much 10 out of 10 for the autofocus, because that's just where the technology is right now. But as for the other autofocus, I'm kind of disappointed. So this camera has contrast detection and phase auto detection, which is kind of a dated technology. And Canon actually has a better technology than that. It has dual pixel autofocus, which is just phenomenal. It's an actual algorithm that figures out what it's looking at and will track things depending on what it thinks it will prioritize. It's just awesome algorithm, and it's really keeping up with Sony, which is like leading the industry in autofocus right now with their AI-based autofocus. But Canon has better autofocus, and it's not in this. For a modern camera, I would expect to have dual pixel autofocus in this camera, like the Canon M50, which is about the same price, although it is a mirrorless camera, has that. But the Canon M50 has the same image processor and has dual pixel autofocus. I don't know why this camera doesn't. As you can tell, I'm really passionate about the autofocus in cameras, and I'm kind of upset. Autofocus in terms of phase detection and contrast detection doesn't suck, but it's like 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. And for a modern camera, I would just expect more because I want my money's worth. Next, let's talk about body design, ergonomics, all that good stuff. I love the way Canon makes their cameras. They're really ergonomically well made. Like on the back of this camera, I just feel like my thumb has access to all the important buttons right at once. I don't feel slowed down. And one thing that I really like about this is that they have the video button right there, right next to my thumb. I hate how on the Sony cameras it's on the side of the camera and I'm always like struggling to get to it. I love where the video button is. My top finger can get to the shutter, my thumb can get to the video button. It's really, really well-designed camera. And speaking of things that are well-designed, the menus in this camera are also very, very well-designed. I always say this in all my videos. I feel like whenever I pick up a Canon camera, even though the menus are slightly different, I feel like I've been there before, I know what I'm doing, and I never really feel lost. Like when it comes to Sony cameras, even though Sony has the same menus in all their cameras, I feel like I'm like, okay, new camera, let's give it a moment, let's learn the new camera. But I feel like when it comes to Canon cameras, I never really feel lost. I just feel like I can pick it up, good to go. So if you're not a pro shooter, not someone that's like using a lot of cameras, you're kind of new, if you want to give this to your mom and dad and you're worried that they'll be lost, they will not be lost. This is a very, very easy camera to use. And honestly, it's ergonomically well designed. I genuinely don't think there's anybody that will not enjoy using this camera. You may or may not like the features in the camera, but the ease of use and like the ergonomics and the user experience, honestly, like 30 out of 10. It's a great camera. And in terms of the actual build quality, like it's a really robust camera. It's got this little back hinge on it. I really like this little like articulating hinge. It feels very sturdy. On the Sony cameras, I feel like it's gonna break, and I'm super careful with my Sony cameras. This just, all the hinges feel really tight and springy. One thing that I love about the actual buttons, they kind of have like this like kunk to them. This is new for Canon cameras. I really feel like there's like a strong spring and there's kind of like a force feedback. I've had this camera for a few months now, to be honest, and I was kind of thinking, okay, this clickiness is gonna go away, and it's not going away, and I'm really, really happy. Hitting these buttons makes it super, super satisfying. However, Canon has started making all their cameras touchscreen, so using this camera as a touchscreen, super easy. The touchscreen is super like responsive. I never feel like I hit the wrong thing. It's really easy to use. Just overall, like solid body, solid buttons, really well laid out menu, and a great touchscreen. And I feel like this new touchscreen is just super easy to access everything. The buttons are great, but I actually feel like it's more fun and a more like modern experience to use this touchscreen. Like I can really just change everything from back here, and it just feels faster and more fun. Like it feels closer to my smartphone than to like an old-timey camera, because I feel like using buttons is kind of an outdated concept now. I gotta give it to the touchscreens, man. Next, let's talk about the audio situation on this camera. So the Mark II version of this camera did not have an external audio jack built in, but the Mark III finally gives us an external audio jack. However, it's not that big of a game changer because this camera has super duper solid audio. I use the Mark II as my first vlogging camera. I totally vlogged in the past. Just nobody wanted to see me talk about my life. But the internal audio in this is super, super solid. Hey guys, it's just a quick vlogging and audio test for the Canon G7X Mark III. I'm on a really, really busy street, and so we're just testing out the audio to see how it sounds in a very, very busy street. I've already done a test already, and I can say the audio sounds surprisingly solid. The Mark II had very, very good audio, and this is, I think, like 20 to 15% better. Leave me a comment down below to let me know what you guys think. I don't think it fully replaces an external mic, but this camera does not have a bracket for an external mic, so honestly, this is like 8.5, 9.2% there, like out of 10, I mean. Let me know what you guys think. And we're back. So this camera does have a mic input, but one thing they forgot to do is put a mic bracket on here, and it would have been nice if it came with one, but you can easily jump on Amazon. I think they go anywhere from $7 to $12. You can just get a little stick-on mic bracket if you want to put it to the side or the top, but be aware, if you do put your mic to the top of the screen, you won't be able to see yourself in selfie mode, so I recommend putting it right here. There's a little bit of empty space, just stick it right on there. So overall, really fantastic camera, but I want you guys to get your money's worth, and I want to tell you what else is on the market that might also be a good replacement for this camera. There's something called the Canon M50. It's about the same price, but it's an interchangeable, which means you can swap out your lenses. It's slightly bigger because it's a mirrorless camera, and also like just having interchangeable lenses will make your camera bigger, but it's got basically the same specs. It also does 4K, HDR, it has a mic input, but it has a side flippy screen, which is, I think, better than top flippy screen. I am just making those terms up, top flippy, side flippy, I think I'm funny. But overall, I think it's generally a better value for your money if you're okay with the bigger size. I think what really gives this camera a value is the small size, but if you're okay with having a slightly bigger camera, I would definitely get the M50. When you do 4K on the M50, you do get a bit of a crop, but if you put a wide lens on it, you'll be fine. As a vlogging camera, it's great, but it also is good as a cinematic camera, documentary camera. You can just do a lot more with it, and also like, it just makes more sense if you're like a cinematic filmmaker to get something like the Canon M50 than a compact camera. But if you're strictly a vlogger and you never want to do other stuff, stick with this camera because this is a really, really good vlogging camera, simply how like easy to use it is. The M50, it's a bit bulkier with a bigger lens. It gets to be a bit more of a hassle, but I want to make sure I tell you guys what else is out there. So final verdict on this camera, solid price point. I actually think this is a fantastic vlogging camera, and I'm really fascinated by the 20 and 30 burst mode for photo. It's too bad they don't have autofocus, and I wish this had dual pixel autofocus in it, but overall, really, really solid camera package. But if you already own a GX7 Mark II, I don't really think you have to upgrade. Like, yeah, I don't really think you're missing that much. But if you don't have a vlogging camera at all and this fits your budget, totally get it. This is fantastic, but this is only fantastic as a vlogging and like small compact travel camera. If you want to do cinematic work or like documentary work, things that are just like outside of that little fun run and gun environment, I would get the M50. But if you just want something that's small, fits in your pocket, I would say this is an 11 out of 10 camera. I'm very impressed with it, especially considering the price point of this camera. My verdict is to buy this. Hey guys, thanks again for joining us for our G7X Mark III review. I think it's a really solid camera, and if you are interested in picking it up, there's a link in the description down below for the best pricing in this camera, so be sure to check that out. Also, if you have any questions about this camera whatsoever, hit me up in the comments down below and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of you. As always, like and subscribe for future content. Until next time, guys.